I'm not stacking gold and silver for a grid down scenario, and this is why. Welcome back to the Rural Stacker channel. Thanks for stopping in, neighbor. Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're talking about why I'm choosing to not stack gold and silver for a grid down scenario. And I'm not talking about a hyperinflation scenario. I think fractional gold and silvers would definitely play a part in that situation, but I'm talking about a grid down scenario. And not just where the power goes out. I'm talking about everything. No delivery lines, no water being piped to your house, no fuel, no production lines. Pretty much a total collapse that includes the power being out, but way worse than that. I just don't see how gold and silver is going to be able to be used for barter in that scenario. I mean, you can't eat it, you can't cook with it. How do you know the price of it without the internet and your Kitco apps, right? And the production use, it's not going to be there anymore if there's no power to run the factories or no supply lines to get the equipment and the supplies to the factory to build it. I don't think that's going to go out the window, at least for a while, until everything comes back online. So that leaves you with what? Trading for it. And who are you going to trade for it? Right? Preppers seem to think that they can barter with it if that type of scenario happens, and I don't think it's going to be practical. Preppers are roughly 6 to 9% of Americans are considered preppers, meaning that they have supplies of all sorts ready for that collapse in society, if you will. And 10 to 18% are citizens that have gold and silver. I would definitely argue that there's some stackers in that 10%, 10 to 18%, but there's also probably your wife who has a gold necklace maybe, or gold ring or something like that. So I wouldn't consider all 10 to 18% of that stackers, but there's probably a lot of overlap with the preppers and the stackers. Let's just take, say, 9%, 6 to 9% preppers. I would probably say that most preppers have gold and silver stack, and if we take out 9% of the 10 to 18% of citizens that have gold and silver, you're looking at 1 in 10 people that have gold and silver but are not considered preppers. That's even with the numbers today, 10 to 18%. So that's 8 out of 10 people already don't have gold or silver and don't seem to want it. And then you take another, half of that are preppers that already have it. So you're looking at like 1 in 10 people that don't have preps but are interested in precious metals. And now your barter window there, that percentage just dropped way down of who you're going to be able to trade this gold and silver for other things. So, and then I ask myself, is a prepper who has supplies even going to want my gold and silver? I know in that kind of scenario, I'm probably not taking it. I have enough gold and silver, and like I said, can't eat it, can't fix things with it. What are you going to do with it if you collect it? So it got me thinking, maybe we should stack other types of metals, and the different forms there. So I got a couple examples that I found, relatively close to the house here to get to for examples. The first thing is brass in the form of ammo. I think you can get this in all kind of different flavors. Whatever works for the equipment that you have, I think is a good idea. I think it's definitely useful. I think it would be more useful than some gold and silver in this type of scenario. Another form of metals that I think you could stack is some batteries. Lithium, iron, cobalt, nickel, all kind of different, again, sizes, flavors of batteries that you can collect. And not just small ones for your electronics, but they make whole home battery systems these days that are solar powered, that you could have on hand, that, you know, if you do lose power, you can hook up to that and run your freezer and fridge so that your, you know, meat and food doesn't go bad. There's all kind of uses for that stuff, but, you know, those are another form of precious metals that you can have. Another thing that comes to mind is steel. Whether you have a couple different types of steel. This knife, by the way, is sweet. It's from MTK Knives. Super sharp, beautiful, beautiful knife. But that's another form. You can use that to defend yourself, but cutting, how many times a day do you cut open things? You could use these knives for butchering. Sticking on the steel topic, you can have stainless steel cups to boil water with. That's always useful thing to have. Pretty important on the needs of a human is water, so you want to be able to boil that to drink safely. Another thing, cast iron, right? That's precious metal in this scenario. You could use that to cook over a fire with. You know, you're going to need to eat. Hot meal goes a long way in those types of scenarios. With that being said, you know, boiling water and cooking, how are you going to start a fire? I got lighters here, but, you know, flint and steel, that's how they did it a while ago. Pretty reliable way. That's another form of metal that you could stockpile. That I think, again, going to be more valuable than gold and silver in that type of scenario. Another form be copper wires, extension cords, copper pipes, you know, to get that water moving. If you have that solar generator like we were talking about, need some electric over someplace else than where your batteries are, you're going to need some wire to do that. So extension cords, not a bad idea. That's another form of metal. Go back to the eating topic. You know, canned foods in aluminum, right? That's another form of metals that, you know, could be valuable in that type of scenario. One that I think a lot of people take for granted that they have, that don't really consider it, is hand tools, right? Screwdrivers, they're useful. Wrenches, always useful. Hammer, nails, again, all metal. Definitely something that could be used in that scenario. You know, we're talking no supply lines and nobody can get anywhere, so tree falls down and puts a hole in your roof. What are you going to do? You can't go to the hardware store. You can't have somebody come over to fix it. Hammer and nails, some wood can go a long way. Keep that roof over your head, quite literally. With this all, I mean, none of this does you any good if you don't know how to use it. You know, you can, these just sitting here aren't going to do anything for me. You know, if I don't know how to frame something in, having the wood and the nails may or may not be helpful. You know, sockets and wrenches. You know, if you don't know what you're doing or how to fix whatever it is that you're working on, why even have them? I mean, I guess maybe some lone wanderer can come through and might have those skills, but be better to learn them now. So these are just a couple of things that I was thinking about. You know, tried to keep it somewhat metal related. Some of them were a stretch, I know that, but it's just a thought exercise. You know, keep me posted down and below if there's something you think I missed, something that, you know, a little oversight might, you know, save somebody's life one day. So until next time, keep on stacking and have a great day. Hey, thanks for sticking around. For that, I'll give you a little something extra. Tonight is going to be a full moon, so don't forget to change out brass rounds in your magazine for silver rounds. Swap out your regular knives for silver knives. And if you don't have that, at least get out your bigger bars so you can use them as a club. That's all I got. Thanks. Have a good one.